We've talked about Garmin and Fitbit and Apple and this Oura ring as ways that some people are looking to see if they're coughing more or their temperature's high. You've got one. Tell us about what you looked at and which one you prefer.
Yeah, no, I've got all the things on. I've got Apple Watch, Fitbit, Garmin, Oura. And I set out to test all of these to see if they could detect symptoms or warning signs of COVID-19. And I didn't just make this up. These companies are all working towards that. They're working with researchers, medical institutions, big academic universities to do research on if people who get COVID can spot it early. So people who have been wearing these devices who get COVID, can they look back at their data and see changes in heart rate, changes in sleep, changes in respiratory, changes in temperature from the Oura ring, which is the only one that takes temperature, and see those spikes, create algorithms to then warn people who are wearing these if they may be subject to getting COVID or maybe getting symptoms of COVID.
So have you been impressed?
Well, the good news is I don't have COVID. In fact, I wore these for 3 weeks. I gathered a ton of data. I showed it to a doctor and he was very confident after looking at all of this data, I didn't have COVID. I even got the test, a swab 2 weeks ago to make sure I don't have COVID. So I'm impressed that they all told me I was pretty healthy. The big challenge for these now is going ahead is both regulatory. Can these companies get through and actually make these warning systems that roll out? Fitbit CEO James Park told me, in fact, that they are working towards that. They've been running studies. They are looking towards creating a warning system that in the Fitbit app, it would give you a green, orange, or yellow, red signal in terms of how you're looking, in terms of how susceptible you are to being sick or having COVID.
I wonder what happens when you wear them all at the same time. Do they implode? Do none of them work? I'm being a little facetious there, but I wonder too,
we'll know in a few years if all the radiation has affected my brain, probably.
There you go. It has the counter effect of keeping you healthy. You just said that, based on all of the data that it was tracking in terms of your health, you were COVID-free, but you had a test to follow up. Is there a danger that people could perhaps rely too much on these devices and not get the proper testing?
Yeah, absolutely. I said this at the end of my column that there's a lot of big risks if all of this goes through. I mean, it could be incredible, but it also could be incredibly scary. And so, yes, one is putting too much trust in this. In fact, the doctor I spoke with, Dr. Eric Topol from the Scripps University or Scripps Research Institution, said that this is all of this wearable info is only good when we have this have the at-home testing kits. That if your wearables were telling you something, if your app told you something that you may not be feeling, right? This can all also help with asymptomatic behaviors, that you would then take the test. So the tests only go hand in hand with the wearables. And I think that's going to be a huge thing for the companies to get right in the marketing.
It strikes me as well that these companies can track your health, tell you, or give you indicators as to whether you may or may not have COVID symptoms. But somewhere where I spent a lot of time of this year is looking at contact tracing and technology's role in that, which really hasn't got off the ground. Apple and Google were supposed to have this unprecedented partnership. How do you reconcile that with what you're seeing in the consumer device space?
It's a great question. I thought a lot about it when I was doing this because I reported on contact tracing a couple of months ago. Again, also very interested in how can technology help in this situation? And it was a lot of steam, right? A lot of people promising things, telling us that this is going to fix everything, and it just didn't, or it hasn't, and I don't have that much faith that it is going to. Wearables, I felt the same way. I felt like I'm talking to these tech companies. Everyone wants to do what they can to help in this pandemic. Are they just blowing steam? Are we just getting more, tech is going to save the world type of marketing from them? But it's really interesting when you talk to the academics, when you talk to the medical researchers, how strongly they feel this can help in the future. They'd already been working on a lot of this for detecting flu, so the research had already been there. But yeah, I think it's something we all need to be skeptical of. I expect Apple to make more inroads in this area, especially when they look at their next Apple Watch, the presumed Series 6 in the fall. Talk of that having a pulse oximeter similar to the Garmin, similar to all those popular finger pulse oximeters people have been buying. So I expect that this to become a marketing line, to be something bigger in the tech industry, but we all have to be wary of exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, but I guess you would probably tell consumers, even though they might be told this is a powerful tool, it's essentially another layer of protection, right? In addition to all the other things we're going to have to do to take care of ourselves. Is that how you see it?
Absolutely, absolutely, and and one of my biggest fears too is our healthcare going to be dependent on people who can only afford the next greatest smartwatch. So this is not going to be a solution for everybody, and that's unfortunate, of course. And this is just going to be, again, another tool in the toolbox.